Xbox just had its biggest leak ever. Now we know what they're planning all the way to 2028. Hi, welcome to Zgadgetreview. So unless you've been living under a rock, you are aware that Microsoft Xbox is trying to acquire Activision. They seem to have passed the first hurdle with the FTC, but they still have one more hurdle to get past with the UK body that oversees mergers. And that seems to be the last thing that they need to clear up in order to finally be the owners of Activision. Well, because of this case, there is a lot of documentation that gets sent to lawyers and the judge in order to review for them to make their decision on the case. And now a lot of that information has leaked, showing what Microsoft/Xbox is planning on doing all the way to 2028. Some of the information is from before the Xbox Series X came out, and a lot of the information is post Series X coming out. Some of the information that I'm going to go by also is pre-Bethesda, pre-Xbox buying Bethesda, and of course post-Xbox buying Bethesda. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through as much as I can on this video. Pretty much I'm probably going to go over everything that has leaked so far in this video. So it might be a pretty long video, so get ready for that. I'm going to have chapters or time codes, whatever you want to call it, in the description section. So if you want to jump around and look for the stuff that you're interested in, you can go ahead and do that. So this first thing shouldn't be a surprise. As we know, Microsoft purchased Bethesda for tons of money, billions of dollars, which means that Bethesda games most likely are going to be exclusive to Xbox, just like Starfield just did. And they're going to double down on this since Starfield was such a success and it was an actual hardware mover for Microsoft. You can only plan that Bethesda games going forward are going to be Microsoft exclusive. Now, a lot of people have been asking about the future of Elder Scrolls. Elder Scrolls is a huge franchise for Bethesda. This is a game that hasn't had a new edition, I don't know, probably a decade or more. And they've resold it and repackaged it in many different ways. So this is a moneymaker for Bethesda. Everybody was wondering if the next iteration of Elder Scrolls, being the Elder Scrolls 6, is coming to PlayStation. The answer is no, it isn't. It's Microsoft's approach following acquisition since 2018. So these are documents that were created in order to acquire Bethesda, right? So this is pretty much you go to a meeting, part of your pitch on why acquiring Bethesda will be on your best interest. This is one of those things that were on that presentation. This comes from The Verge. We have Deathloop. We have the developer, if it's an existing IP, if what is going to have multiplayer or not, cross-platform play or not, release on PlayStation, the release date, the platforms available. And so here we have the reasoning here, which I'm going to read because it might be too small for you to see it. Microsoft's statement on exclusivity. So obviously I can't sit here and say that every Bethesda game is exclusive. There's contractual obligations that we are going to see through, as we always do in every one of these instances. We have games that exist on other platforms and we're gonna go support those games on the platform they're on. So here we have Deathloop, that came out exclusive for the PlayStation, Ghostwire, that came out exclusive for the PlayStation and PC, as we can see there. Then we have Fallout 76, which actually came out on all platforms. Then we have the Elder Scrolls Online by ZeniMax, and here we have again available in all platforms. And so here we have ESO will continue to be supported exactly as it was, and we fully expect it to keep growing and thriving on each of the platforms that are currently supported. Those statements that you see at the bottom are statements from Microsoft when they've had been asked questions about these things. Now we have Starfield, H1 2023 is going to be available on Xbox and PC. And then we have all these X's because it's a new IP, not an existing one. It doesn't have multiplayer, doesn't have cross-platform, and it's not going to be available on the PlayStation. Now we have Redfall, which all we know how Redfall turned out was a disaster of a game. So we have Redfall, a new IP, so non-existing, multiplayer game, yes. Cross-platform play, no. Release on PlayStation? No. And then the release window, Xbox PC. And here we have the statement from Microsoft. One of the things that has me most excited is seeing the roadmap with Bethesda's future games, some announced and many unannounced, to Xbox consoles and PC, including Starfield, the highly anticipated new space epic currently in development by Bethesda Game Studios. So this obviously was back when Microsoft acquired Bethesda, and people were asking, what's going to happen with Starfield? What's going to happen with Starfield? And so they have the quote there. And the reason, again, because this is documents that were presented to the court in order to support the reason why Microsoft shouldn't merge. And then we have Elder Scrolls 6. Elder Scrolls 6, according to Microsoft's roadmap, it is going to be an existing IP, of course. It won't be multiplayer, it won't be cross-platform, and it won't be released on the PlayStation. It is going to be exclusive to the Xbox PC. Obviously, the game is to be announced or to be coming, but is expected by 2026 or later. So we should have some sort of announcement probably in 2025. 2024 probably they'll do a tease. 2025 they'll give us more information. And then 2026 they're going to go full force marketing if it indeed does come out in 2026 and doesn't get pushed back, which I'm thinking it could get pushed back. Starfield seems to be a pretty big game right now for them and to be generating a lot of sales and a lot of talk and a lot of activity in the platform. So it wouldn't be crazy to think that Microsoft will push Elder Scrolls to continue having Starfield be what it is. Now, of course, there's that assumption that Starfield stays as big as it is, that the upcoming expansions and extra content that's going to come out for the game continues to hold an audience. I wouldn't put it past Microsoft to push Elder Scrolls to 2027 and then move from 2027 on with Elder Scrolls, to have it kind of cover the decline of Starfield and pick up all those Starfield players into the Elder Scrolls. That's what will make sense. Our other leak, I will say, is probably one of the biggest leaks, and this has to do with new hardware by Xbox. Xbox is planning on releasing a beefed up Xbox Series X, like a mid-generation review to the hardware, just like they did with the Xbox One, and they had the Xbox One X before the Xbox Series X came out. Here we have the new device is codename Brooklyn. And so Brooklyn is a cylinder-shaped console. It kind of looks like an Echo device. Speaker is kind of what it looks like. This is some of the information that we have here. So Brooklyn Xbox Series X refresh, the most powerful Xbox ever now, adorably all digital. So this device won't have a disc. This is Microsoft moving 100% into digital distribution and cloud distribution. And so here we have Brooklyn will deliver 4K Gen 9 console gaming with more internal storage, faster Wi-Fi, reduced power, a more immersive controller, which we're going to get to because there's really cool stuff with that controller, and a beautiful redesign that elevates the all digital experience of the Xbox ecosystem, giving our fans more to love. Beautiful and innovative new design, more internal storage for games. This is going to be a 2 terabyte device, assuming that this all becomes reality. Keep in mind, these are leaks. Stuff that they're planning doesn't mean that this is actually going to make it to market. USB-C front port with power delivery, all new, more immersive controller, all for the same great price, $499. So this is going to be a device that is going to be targeted to the Series X crowd, not the Xbox Series S crowd. Keep in mind, that's the cheapest one, and they just released a refresh for that. And so we're going to keep the same price. You're going to get something better for the same price. It's a pretty smart approach. All new Southbridge to modernize I/O and sustainability efforts, Wi-Fi 6E, radio for better through output latency, and interface mitigation, BT 5.2 radio, that's Bluetooth, for improved accessory experiences, 6 nanometer die shrink to improve efficiency. So here we're going to see the internals get smaller as well. Because of that, it's going to be more power efficient because the components get smaller. Improve sustainability story. Reduce PSU power by 15%. New low power standby mode, which is 20% of current Xbox Series X and S standby mode, increased use of PCR and housing to minus 30%, and 100% recyclable packaging. So that is the environment points that they want to hit with this device. Now let's talk about that controller, because this new device is supposed to ship with a brand new redesigned controller, unlike the previous system. So if you remember that Xbox One X, when it got its refresh, there were a little bit of tweaks on the controller, but it wasn't really that much. It was pretty much the same thing with like a different type, what is it called? The D-pad. I think it was the round D-pad that came with the Xbox One X. But there wasn't really that much, and like some texturing, but there wasn't that much difference. It was like the same controller. This controller is going to be a completely redesigned controller. And I'm thinking that they're finally gonna do it in order to match what the PS5 was offering in their controller, and even one up the PS5. This controller is going to be called Sebile. The new controller says the world's best controller now playing on a screen near you. Funny tag, I guess. So we have Ubiquity, Play Anywhere, Xbox Wireless 2 Direct Cloud Bluetooth 5.2, Seamless Pair and Switch, new mobile app features, see pair devices and cloud, manage devices and accessories. And when I'm talking about the app, they're talking about the Xbox app where you can control your devices. So supposedly this will be able to switch between devices, between cloud gaming and regular console gaming, immersion, feel the game, precision haptic feedback, VCA haptics double as speakers, accelerometer, quieter buttons, and thumbsticks. So as you can see, they're going to add accelerometers, and the VCA haptics are going to double as speakers. They're really elevating the game here when it comes to the controller. Finally, Microsoft is going to be doing something different with their controller. Sustainability, do good, feel good. Rechargeable and swappable battery, recycled materials and less resin, repair and disassembly. Durable and reliable. New modular thumbsticks, improved longevity, continued build improvements. Approachability, engage in the light, lift to wake, familiar Xbox feel, same ergonomics as Merlin, same layout and activation forces, SELE XDL options as expected. So as you can see, they're going to have this lift to wake thing, which I'm assuming is for the controller, not the console. So when you lift your controller, and it'll most likely, I'm assuming, turn on the little light, because if they have this lift to wake thing where it's going to wake up the Xbox and the controller, which is what will make more sense, right? It will make more sense for you to lift your controller and wake up your Xbox and controller together. But can you imagine if you're just like cleaning and you move the controller and then you start the Xbox? I think it will be a little bit like, it will become a little too delicate where you're like, no, don't touch it because I don't want to turn on the Xbox right now. And so, I don't know. Hopefully it's just for the controller, not both, because I feel like that will get a little annoying. And if you do have the option to lift to wake, that you have a way to deactivate it so you don't have to worry about moving your controller around and turning on your Xbox. Now let's talk about the Xbox Series S, because the Xbox Series S is going to be getting another refresh. And yes, I know the Xbox Series S just got a refresh. I think it came out this month or last month, which is the Xbox Series S Black with 1 terabyte of storage. Well, we're going to have a new one that's going to come out along with this new cylindrical Xbox. And it's going to be called, or right now it is called codename Ellewood. And Ellewood is the Xbox Series S refresh, the best value in next-gen gaming, once again undisputed. Ellewood will deliver Gen 9 console gaming with more internal storage, faster Wi-Fi, reduced power, and a more immersive controller, all for the same affordable price. Even more customer value, more internal storage for games, 1 terabyte, all new, more immersive controller, same low price, $299. So clearly it seems like they're going to keep the 1 terabyte option. It looks like it's going to go back to white, but this time it's going to have that same controller than the new Xbox, and it's also going to have the new Wi-Fi and Bluetooth capabilities. Updated technologies, all new Southbridge to modernize I/O and sustainability efforts, Wi-Fi 6E radio for better throughout latency and interference mitigation, Bluetooth 5.2 radio for improved accessory experiences, improved sustainability story. New low power standby mode is 20% of current Xbox Series X and X, S and X standby mode, increased use of PCR on housing to less than 30%, 100% recyclable packaging. Here we have some of the marketing points of how they are going to sell these devices. Delight players, enable creators, unlock ubiquity. So ubiquity seems to be a word that we're going to be hearing a lot about when it comes to these consoles. Address customer feedback. Increase storage on Series S. Rechargeable, removable controller battery, XDL for consoles. Update controller with increased immersion. Maintain technology leadership. All new Series X design, all digital ecosystem, up to 80% reduced power and standby, Wi-Fi 6E for faster downloads. Enable richer gaming experience. Direct-to-cloud controller. Get into games quicker with extra I/O lanes. Reduce developer friction. Fast controllers charging via front USB port. Drive growth plus competitiveness on console. MSRPs and distribution flexibility. Multiple storage options for broader access. Refresh ID plus more sustainable materials. Bluetooth radio enables more 3P accessories. That means third-party accessories. Now, when is this going to be released? This is going to be released during the holidays, most likely, and is going to be announced at E3. And we know that because we actually have the timeline of release. And here's what we have. Sebile is going to be announced for $69.99 in fiscal year 24 Q4 between May and June. And that's when it's going to launch. Then we're going to have the mid-gen console announcement of the Ellewood and Brooklyn, which is going to be announced simultaneously. And that's also going to be summer of 24, around E3 again. Then we're going to have the release dates. Here we have release dates. And so here we have additional storage options announced available in fiscal year 25 H2. So it's going to launch in 2024 for us, but fiscal year, which is the year that the company operates in, is going to be 2025. 60 days plus separation between launches enables dialogue with different audiences, allows us to focus on new improvements in Sebile, tell stories beyond console, adds value to Brooklyn and Ellewood at Unannounced, gives Ellewood its own moment earlier in the holiday timeframe to maximize sales. Last Chance Edith, 512 gigabytes at $199 as Black Friday offer before EOL. End of life. That's what EOL stands for. So they're planning on phasing out the original Xbox Series A's 512 gigs. Is going to drop to $199. And it seems like they're going to do it for Black Friday. So if you want an Xbox Series S or OG, then I guess you know when they're going to stop selling it. Starkville EOL ahead of Brooklyn launch. Brooklyn arrives just in time for the gifting season. And so here what they want to do is they want to have the S have its own separate time and the X in its own separate time, so people don't go and maybe buy the wrong console, market confusion, and all this stuff. Hey, makes sense. Now let's look at specs, because we also have specs of what we most likely are going to be seeing during that time, if all this holds true. All right, keep in mind if this holds true. So we have Xbox Series S Ellewood, 4 teraflops, 1440p resolution, 10 gigabytes of RAM, 512 gigs of storage. It's going to improve to 1 terabyte of storage. We have content delivery, all digital. This is the S does not have a disk drive. Connectivity, Xbox Wireless 2, Bluetooth 5.2, Wi-Fi 6E, and it's going to have 3 USB-A ports. Inbox accessories, Sebile, which is a new controller, USB-C to A cable, HDMI cable, power cable, sustainability enhanced, ID refresh light, whatever that means. Xbox Series X, we have the Brooklyn, and so Brooklyn is 12 teraflops, 4K, 16 gigs of RAM. It's going to go from 1 terabyte to 2 terabytes, all digital. Xbox Wireless 2, Bluetooth 5.2, Wi-Fi 6.E is going to come with 1 USB-C port, which is going to be the port on the front, and 2 USB-As, which I'm assuming are going to be in the back. We have the Sebile controller. We have a USB-C to C cable, HDMI cable, power cable, sustainability enhanced, ID refresh, all new. And then we have the Xbox Series X in XDL, and XDL stands for Xbox Design Lab. And one of the things that Xbox wants to do is use the Xbox Design Lab for you to do your consoles as well. So you know how you can go and customize your controller to your heart's content, change colors, button colors, triggers, all that. They want to do the same thing for the console. And I guess the plan is to release that along with the new Xbox Series. That's the plan. There's other communication that seems that might fall for later because this is a roadmap to 2030. I know I said 2028 at the beginning of the video, but I actually been reading all the legal documents, and the roadmap that we're looking at right now is all the way to 2030. If you do an Xbox Series X in XDL, in Xbox Design Lab, it's going to be the exact same specs because all that's changing is the color of the console. Universal controller, Sebile. We have Xbox Wireless 2, BT 5.2, Direct to Cloud. In-box accessories says Bonnie, I don't know what that is. USB-C to A, cable, enhanced, large. And then we have that Xbox controller, Xbox Universal controller in XDL, and that's Xbox Design Lab, and technically it's the same, but it comes with the Bonnie Pro. So this might actually be the Elite controller. Supposedly they're planning on launching a new Elite controller that's going to have all the new features of Sebile. So maybe that's what they're talking about there. But that's everything that we have on the upcoming hardware from Microsoft, and it's crazy. It's really cool to see what they're planning in a way. It also kind of spoils the surprise, right? But there have been talks that Xbox is working on a mid-cycle console, just like the PS5 is doing on a mid-cycle console refresh. And so it will make sense. They did it with the Xbox One X, and it worked very well for them. It makes sense that they will do the same with the Xbox Series X. But my fear there is that the Xbox Series S continues to be there and continues to be, to me, a problem when it comes to development that we might not see solved until at least 2030. Because there's another portion of this presentation where they talk about what their plans are all the way to 2030. And I'm going to show you that slide. So here we have the path to leadership in gaming. And as you can see here, we have Smart TV app, which is fiscal year 23. Then we have the Universal Wireless Controller, which is going to come out in 24, fiscal year ending 2024. And this also seems that it's going to be a controller you're going to be able to buy separately to work with your TV probably when it comes to cloud gaming, to work with your phone when it comes to cloud gaming. Just like Amazon does with Luna, just like Google did with Stadia. So you're going to have now your proprietary Xbox controller is going to work directly with cloud, which is now why you see that tilt to wake feature makes sense. So then we have the mid-gen console refresh, as we know is going to be beginning of fiscal year 25 for Microsoft, meaning end of year for us. And that seems to hold them all the way to 2028, fiscal year ending 2028, fiscal year 2029. And so here we can see what that tail end is going to be. That's why I said this goes all the way to 2030, which is most likely when we're going to see the new consoles, because it seems here Gen 10 is right smack in the middle of fiscal year 28 and fiscal year 29, meaning that most likely will get announced fiscal year 28 and come out fiscal year 29 at some point. That seems to be the thing that we're going to be seeing the next consoles, the Gen 10 consoles in 2030. Will be what, 10 year? It's a 10-year lifespan for the Xbox Series X and S is what it looks like. Now we're going to move on to what Microsoft is planning on doing when it comes to computing, because they want to really double down with this cloud gaming. And we have an idea as well of how they're planning on doing that. Our vision: develop a next generation hybrid game platform capable of leveraging the combined power of the client and cloud to deliver deeper immersion and entirely new classes of game experiences. Optimized for real-time gameplay and creators, we will enable new levels of performance beyond the capabilities of the client. And then we have ThinOS, lacking ThinOS, or less than $99 consumer on handheld devices. The thinking is that based on that slide is that Microsoft was planning on launching a device where you could play games, most likely using cloud gaming, that will cost you less than $99, which would have been crazy. I'm assuming it was probably around the time that the leaks came out that Microsoft was planning on releasing a gaming stick, kind of like a Fire TV, like an Amazon Fire TV stick. And I did a video on that too. I will link all the videos related to this stuff in the description section. But the idea was that they will release a cloud gaming stick that you will plug into your HDMI port and you could play Xbox games using the cloud. And I'm thinking that that's what this is related to. Each generation of Xbox also brought new innovations to Microsoft. Xbox One, Xbox Live DirectX innovation, Xbox 360, Kinect digital media stores, game input. Well, they got rid of the Kinect, so it wasn't that huge of a thing for them. Xbox One, Xbox Security Processor, Gamepass DirectX innovation, Xbox Series X and S, Project X Cloud Direct Storage, DFA manufacturing, Next Gen 2028, Cloud Hybrid Games, Immersive Game and App Platform. The whole cloud compute idea is that game information will be sent to the cloud, will be sent directly from the cloud to your Xbox instead of living on the drive, on the SSD and all the stuff that you download into your Xbox for gaming. Some of that information will be pulled from the cloud. It's something that actually Microsoft Flight Simulator does now. So it's there, but my thinking is they're probably going to make it bigger and better to provide you better graphics, better games, better latency, all this stuff by pulling stuff from the cloud. That's my assumption. Again, this is from 2022, so all this could be dead in the water already, but it's good to know. And finally, let's talk about Bethesda gaming, because there is also a leak about Bethesda games on this and what Bethesda was working on when they were purchased and things that might happen or might never happen. And as you can see, those games were before Microsoft buying them. And so here we have fiscal year 20 games, console, PC, free-to-play, mobile. Then we have fiscal year 21. And then, of course, as you can see here, Starfield got pushed, Redfall got pushed. So those games got pushed to later. So then we have games that haven't come out yet or we haven't heard anything about yet. Fiscal year 22, Indiana Jones game. We've known about this Indiana Jones game for a while. Supposedly it's been pushed to, I think, next year. Now we have Oblivion Remaster that we haven't heard anything about. I guess they were planning on remastering Oblivion. It's probably something that has changed in the calendar after Microsoft purchased them. Probably all focus went to Starfield when Microsoft acquired them, which is why some of these things probably fell by the wayside. Then we have Elder Scrolls Online expansion, Starfield DLCs. If you can see on the roadmap of Bethesda, Starfield was supposed to come out in 21 with the first DLC in 22. Now, all of that obviously has moved forward. Then we have Doom Year Zero and DLC. I don't know what Doom Year Zero is. It hasn't come out. Then we have a Project Kestrel, which I've never heard of. Elder Scrolls Online expansion. I think that came out. Then we have Project Platinum, which I don't know what it is. And then we have later for next year, Elder Scrolls 6, which now we know has been pushed to way past that window. We know that it's going to come out in 2026 to 2027, 2026 and beyond. Technically is when that's going to come out. Project Kestrel expansion, which again, we don't know what it is. Then we have a licensed IP game. We don't know what that is. Then we have Fallout 3 Remaster. So Fallout 3 Remaster is something that could actually still happen because we're still within the 2024 window where this could happen. Then we have Elder Scrolls Online expansion, Ghostwire Tokyo sequel. Again, Ghostwire Tokyo sequel is something that could still happen because we're still within that window. My thinking is some of these things might not happen because it seems like all of these things change when Microsoft purchased them. Dishonored 3 again could fall within that window. And then we have Doom Year Zero DLC, which of course won't exist because there's no Doom Year Zero that has come out. Now we have some more information here, and this is what the revenue forecast is that Microsoft will have presented to their people when they were trying to, or Xbox when they were trying to acquire Bethesda. But this gives you an insight of how things are planned and why sometimes games are planned so far out in time, right? Because you have your spreadsheets and you're working out how these games are going to perform, how much money you're going to make and all that. So that's the information that we have about possible Bethesda making games that possibly are still going to be made, but probably at a later time. Again, there's chapters at the bottom, so if you want to find what you want to find, it's all going to be there. Now, what do I think? I guess I already give you my opinions, right? The big thing here is hardware. Well, we're going to be getting hardware. Microsoft is finally going to get their act together when it comes to the controller. We're going to see a refresh of the Xbox Series X and S, again of the S. That's just ridiculous Because if you read this and you're planning on buying the 1 terabyte Xbox Series S, hold on, wait. There's a new one coming out next year, so just hold your money. Xbox Series X, again, same thing. If you were waiting to buy it, you can wait a little longer, wait until next year. You're going to get a better product for the same price, you know? It kind of ruins Microsoft sales expectations, I guess, because the whole point of keeping this secret is so people continue buying your product because they don't know what's going to come next or when it's going to come out. But now that people are going to know, this most likely is probably going to affect Microsoft sales in some sort of way. There's going to be a huge impact, but it's going to be an impact nonetheless. Go ahead and let me know what you think about this whole leak. What is it? Do you have questions that I might be able to answer that I didn't cover here because I'm going to continue reading this document? Do you have anything to add that I didn't cover here? Put it in the comment section. That is it for me. Go ahead and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Go ahead and hit that bell so you can be alerted every time we have new videos. And thank you very much for watching.